Welcome back. This is week 11, part 2. We're going to get started with our content for the week. We have 2 session objectives that we're working on. The first is for you to be able to justify grouping strategies and next steps for instruction when given a class data set. So to prepare you for your participation activity, I will be showing you a sample class data set and going through the process of analyzing it to determine next steps for grouping and instruction. So that is our first objective. The second objective is to be able to explain the needs of adolescent readers in regard to the key literacy areas, assessment, writing, and motivation. And that corresponds with your reading for this week, what content area teachers should know about adolescent literacy, which takes a look at different key areas of literacy and discusses how to instruct the adolescent reader in each of those areas, and it also touches on assessment, writing, and motivation. So I'm going to preview some of the information in that reading and then definitely go in and read that great resource for yourself. All right, so let's get started with the differentiation practices. So here is a sample set of data. I would like for you to take a look at this and determine how might you group the students and what might you have them do with you in a small group or on their own independently when they're not working with you in a small group. So let me walk you through what you're looking at here before you kind of come up with your own ideas. So here are the student names, obviously some pseudonyms in there. This is actually data from the Developmental Reading Assessment, or DRA, which is basically just a different informal reading inventory like the QRI that assesses fluency and comprehension, and at the end gives you a level that's in the form of a letter score. So these students are actually at the beginning of first grade level, which at the beginning of first grade you should be about a D or an E getting started. So this is their overall DRA level, and again, coming into first grade you should be about a D or an E, and then when you end first grade you should be an I or a J. Now over here are the number of miscues that the student made on their independent level and the percent accuracy that they had on their independent level. And here are the number of self-corrections they made. And here's where I jotted down patterns or notes based on their oral reading. So all of these, stats and notes here have to do with the oral reading fluency. Now over here in purple is data pertaining to comprehension. So first they needed to preview the text and the illustrations and do a picture walk, and this is their score out of a 4 on that. And then next were retell questions, and so after reading the passage they had retell questions, reflection questions, and connection questions. And so here's their score out of 4 on the retell, their score out of 4 on reflection, and their score out of 4 on connections, and then notes that I made about their performance on comprehension. So I'm going to just let you take a look at this data and read through it and kind of process the information that is in here. You may even need to kind of pause it, and then after a couple of minutes I will let you know where I went and would go with instruction for these students. All right, so that hopefully was enough time. If not, feel free to pause this and continue reading and looking through this data. One thing I forgot to mention is that over here when it says miscues, this is the total acceptability. So it does not include self-corrections. It is just the miscues without counting the self-corrections in there. So it would be on the QRI, the total acceptability, not the total accuracy. So let's take a look at what we got here. We have Skipper, who's reading a level D, 97% accuracy, only 2 miscues, and 3 self-corrections. So definitely monitoring heavily what he's reading. Had some trouble with magic E words and really needed some heavy prompting to continue the retell. Ginger had no self-corrections and a ton of miscues. She was not paying attention to the beginning and ending sounds, so not using her visual or graphophonic cueing, so getting her to attend more to those beginning and ending sounds. And then for her, she needed guidance with reflection and connection questions, but did a decent job with the retell. Professor, level E, had 5 miscues, 2 self-correction, so also is needing to better attend to ending sounds and using graphophonic cueing and needed some prompting with the retell. So then we have Marianne, 6 miscues, 1 self-correction, needs to pay attention to ending sounds, struggling with the retell. Gilligan needs to pay attention to magic E words. So I'm already seeing there are a couple of people needing help with magic E, and then again more prompting for the retell. So I'm noticing as a class needs some help with basic retell, and that might be something I teach the whole class in a mini lesson. Mr. H is a level F. Had a really high accuracy, almost the highest accuracy. Him and Greg, have really high accuracy and a good number of self-corrections. Again, needing to pay attention to ending sounds, practice the retell. Cindy is an F. She had 4 miscues, 1 self-correction, had great expression, practice with retell. Peter needs to pay attention to ending sounds, so Peter and Mr. H look like they might need similar work, and they're both a level F, so that would work out great. And again, practice with the retell. Here's another person for Magic E, so there are 3 kids that maybe I want to give an independent activity or some instruction on Magic E with more retell. Greg needs some help with blending. He is my only level H right now, so he's pretty advanced for where they should be at this point in time in first grade. However, had 3 miscues but 4 self-corrections, so he's really reading for meaning but is struggling with those connection questions. Here's another person, Marcia. She's a level B, has a ton of miscues but no self-correction, so really isn't reading for meaning, similar to Ginger, although Ginger's a much higher level as far as the DRA level goes. All right, so let's take a look at my plans for these students. So here's how I would group them to work with them. I actually went the easy way around and grouped them by reading levels, so that way I can use a level at their instructional level and not frustrate them. So being that Marcia is a level B independent and they should be a D or an E independent right now, I want to work with her individually and really provide her some intensive support, tier 3 support, and really focus on using picture clues, reading for meaning, using more strategies because she is just really struggling. At the D and E level, I have Skipper, Gilligan, and Professor, and they all need help with long vowel spellings and with retell, so I would put them in a group together. Now, in the F group, there are 2 kind of subgroups. There's Ginger, Marianne, and Bobby who aren't using semantic cueing to self-correct or realizing their errors, whereas you have Cindy and Jan who are making less miscues, but they all need help with retell. So I'm going to pay attention, even though if I group them all by level F, I'm still going to pay attention to what instruction I'm giving them and really emphasizing using semantic cueing and thinking about, does that make sense with Ginger, Marianne, and Bobby. And then at the H level, Mr. H and Greg, I'm going to put together, even though they're not both level H, I think that they can work together in that group since they both need focus on blending. Now that's what I would do with them when they're working with me in small groups, but if you're in the classroom, you know you need to occupy their time when they're not working with you in some sort of workstation or workshop model. So right away I noticed within comprehension, they all might need to utilize some sort of graphic organizer to sequence events and then retell to a partner. So I might, like I said, do a whole group lesson on retelling and literal basic comprehension, and then I might include, you know, whatever graphic organizer strategy I give them for that as to into an independent activity for a workshop. Word analysis, Marcia, again, I'm going to have her use pictures and sentences and use pictures to sort since she's not at, you know, the word reading level. She's still working with pictures. I'm going to make sure I have her attend to pictures more. Um, I had some good phonics games where there were sound windows and you had to figure out the missing sound in a word using the picture clue. So I would have Ginger and Marcia work on finding the beginning sound. I would have those students work on finding the final sound, and Bobby Gilligan and Greg would work on the medial sound, and then I would have a Magic E game for Skipper, Gilligan, and Bobby. So those are some different ideas for independent activities, workshop workstations that I would employ for those students specifically based on need. Here are some awesome resources and websites that you can use for planning interventions. Florida Center for Reading Research, if you haven't been there, it's amazing. I'll quickly take you there right now. If you just go over here to Student Center Activities and click on the grade level K5 that you're looking for, and then go down here, you know, depending on the area of need, you can click on, you know, what the student might need help with. I know a number of you found students needed help with high frequency words, so if you click on this, it gives you PDF of a ton of different games you can play. Intervention Central is another great one. Internet for Classrooms gives you, if you have desktop computers or laptops in your room, here's a ton of games that they can play. All right, lastly, I want to talk about some low maintenance differentiation ideas. Just like this gentleman here has a very low maintenance buzz cut, here are some low maintenance ways to differentiate. So if you're doing some sorting activities, you can have certain students sort pictures, other students can sort just the words, and other students can sort a combination of pictures and words based on needs. Within one workshop station, let's say you have a sight word station, you might have different bags based on different levels of ability. So a certain group of students might get the red bag and play the sight word game bang with the red bag of words versus other students might do the blue bag of words. Also, you can have many activities at one station and then write the student names next to the activity you want them to practice. Similar to a menu, you can do a menu of options and you can incorporate student choice that way. You could also have students use their leveled reading book that's at their level and do the work with a text at their level. That's an easy way to differentiate. Or again, have different levels of text available so they can self-select the text that works best for them. And then having templates and sentence starters for any writing activity that they might be doing is a great thing as well. All right, so now it's your turn to get into that Google Doc and take a look at ways you could possibly group students and how you might do instruction based on student need. So again, a very authentic practice opportunity for your role as a literacy specialist. So I'm excited to see what you come up with. Good luck with that. And I'm going to stop there and see you back with part 3.